Arkaral Flight Mission Log 003. Narrator, White Sage, Arkaral. Security rating, 0.9. High security. Location, Conid Prime. Agent level, level 4. Operation, the Rogue Slave Trader, 1 of 2. Adversary, Sansha's Nation. Hull Doctrine, White Sage, Kaldari Marauder, Golem. Green Sage, Kaldari Strategic Cruiser, Tengu. Pink Sage, OR Salvage Vessel, Noctis. Mission briefing. The agent was direct. Sansha's Nation had established a temporary slave-holding site in system. Intelligence placed it inside a restricted dead space pocket. Defenses were expected to be light initially, but Sansha doctrine favored delayed escalation once targets were committed. Objectives were clear. Locate the slave pen. Eliminate all hostile forces. Recover surviving prisoners and return them to the agent. No time bonus, no shortcuts. Log start. Conid Prime lay 5 jumps out. That was where we would meet the agent and where I would change hulls. Green and I traveled together in our Tengus, the same ships we had used in mission log 002, moving gate to gate with practiced rhythm. We paused briefly in each system, checking local communications and scanning for anomalies before committing to the next jump. Systems stayed quiet. Local remained thin. High security space, but close enough to the fringe that vigilance still mattered. Pink followed 1 jump behind in her Noctis. She wouldn't be needed until the grid was stable, but she preferred to stay close. At Conid Prime Station, I changed hulls and spoke with the agent, receiving the full briefing in person. The Golem waited in its berth, massive and inert, systems cold. Cruise missile launchers were loaded deliberately. Bastion module tested twice. Shield emitters cycled through diagnostics. A small drone bay sat ready, stocked with 5 light combat drones for anti-frigate work, with medium drones staged as well in case heavier targets required attention. This wasn't a ship meant to move quickly. It was meant to stay. Green remained in her Tengu, flexible and fast, ideal for managing space beyond bastion range. Pink stayed docked. Green and I undocked together and warped to the mission site. We stuck to our tried and true methods, activating shields as soon as we cleared the station and aligning together to match warp speed. Formation mattered. Arriving together mattered. The dead space pocket resolved slowly as spatial interference cleared. Sansha structures hung in rigid formation, angular and sterile. The slave pen sat at the center of the grid, heavily powered, its signature unmistakable. Life support systems pulsed erratically. Wreckage drifted nearby, stripped clean, arranged almost deliberately. Hostiles were already present. Sansha frigates and cruisers held their positions at range, weapons hot but disciplined. No erratic movement, no wasted thrust. I deployed the MTU immediately and maneuvered the Golem into position nearby. "Anchoring here," I said. "Copy. I'll take wide," Green replied. Once aligned, I activated Bastion. The Golem locked into place. Shield resistances climbed. Weapon systems settled into rhythm. From that position, near the MTU, the grid became predictable. "I'll lock down center mass," I said. "I'll manage the perimeter," Green replied. We engaged. I launched drones alongside the first missile volley and set them to assist Green. They fanned outward, telemetry feeding back as they acquired targets, focusing fire on anything she engaged. Green's Tengu accelerated, banking wide as she intercepted the first wave of frigates before they could close. "Frigates down fast," she reported. "Good, holding cruisers," I replied. Cruise missiles flew in steady cadence, one target at a time. Shields on the golem flared briefly as a volley of Sansha lasers struck, then stabilized. Once the initial hostiles fell, we reloaded immediately in preparation for the next wave. Green repositioned continuously, correcting angles, breaking approaches, keeping anything small from lingering too long. I maintained bastion cycles, double-checking capacitor levels as the grid grew quiet. Then the reinforcement timer expired. Green caught the signature spike first. Battleship Sansha slaver contact, warping in. The Sansha hull arrived cleanly, heavier, more deliberate. It locked me immediately. Additional frigates followed, attempting to divide attention. Drones and missiles answered together. "I've got the support," Green said. "Copy. Primary is mine." Green cleared the smaller ships with efficient precision while I focused on the reinforcement. Cruise missiles impacted in controlled sequence. Armor failed, structure followed. When the battleship detonated, the grid settled again. Only then did I turn fire on the slave pen. Missiles struck in repeated volleys. External systems failed. The structure ruptured outward, venting debris, escape pods, and fractured plating into open space. Automated systems flagged survivors. We held position. No late ambush came. No final wave followed. "All clear," I said. "Pink, you're green to warp." "Already aligned," she replied, and warped in moments later. The Noctis went to work. Tractor beams drew wreckage inward, most already close thanks to the MTU. That allowed Pink to focus her salvagers efficiently, pulling in more distant wrecks while maintaining a clean pull pattern. Green and I held overwatch. D-scan stayed active. Local remained quiet. Once salvage was complete and the MTU recovered, we aligned out. Pink warped first. Green followed. I brought the golem out last. Bastion offline. Shield steady. Mission status remained incomplete until I spoke with the agent. Only after docking at Conid Prime and transferring the recovered prisoners did the system register success. There's no interface for care or recovery in New Eden. Responsibility changes hands and the ledger moves on. I prefer to believe someone else takes over from there, providing aid, returning people to whatever home still existed for them. Payment transferred. One site cleared. One operation interrupted. The rogue slave trader would continue. So would we. Log end.